Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm DK Roster. We hear more narratives and conversations about taking soca music to the Billboard, to the Grammys, etc. Now we're about to have a conversation with an artist considered for a Grammy nomination, which are moves in the right direction. Rossi Kempis Gray, or RKG, he joins us now. Welcome, sir. I want to start off by saying congratulations and ask, what does that consideration for the nomination mean for you? Because we hear a lot more local artists talking about that is where they're heading now.
Well, a pleasant day to you. I was saying that. What it means to me, it's a great accomplishment. And it's actually the second time. About, let's say, 6 years ago, I was considered for a Grammy nomination in the reggae category. I had an album that was a fusion of soca, dancehall, but in the Grammys now, although it was soca-based also, the album itself, they had it under the reggae category. And that was 6 years ago. That was, it went up against the likes of Morgan Heritage, Sizzla, Kalonji, Cranium. And this year, we submitted the Zungusha song, and that song was considered in the category of global music performance alongside Kes was also considered in that category.
Now looking at, and not even going to talk about Zungushas yet, but it's very interesting to see it's under different categories. We won't talk about her soca category as yet, but what do you think that says about the work that you and your team have been putting in over this period of time?
It says a lot. I'll tell you why. Because many times over the years, I've heard, hey, stick to the soca, stick to the authentic soca. But I believe for music to be accepted in the wider world, we need to fuse the music. All right? Now, I've been putting in the work for years. Those who know me singing, a lot of people know me from radio. You know, I'm working on X99.1 FM. That's my daily job. You know what I mean? But other than that, the music itself, for people to accept it, you need to fuse the music. So what happened, I decided to, over the years, not just do the authentic soca, but to fuse it. If you listen to my album, like I have an album called Eccentric, which is a fusion of soca, reggae, you know, dancehall. And I'm actually working on a current album right now which is a more kind of Afrobeat kind of vibe. And the reason for doing that, in the pandemic, I started getting some traction from places like Gambia and Kenya, different places in Africa, because of a DJ called Mighty Songs that heard the music on the internet and reached out to me.
And it's really interesting because you say fusion, we would have had Orville, Shaggy, Burrell passing through different networks in terms of television and Next yesterday, and he was talking about a hybrid.
Yes.
Now, he was also saying that many times in these smaller spaces, you need to work 10 times as hard with much less resources to get the same amount of play, shine as some of the persons coming out of larger spaces. Is that something that you find to be true with you and your journey? Because it's almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah. It's almost 2 decades, you're correct. Definitely, I have to work very, very hard. I'll give an example. I like to go against the norm. Like in 2019, I had a song called Spanish Dancer, all right? And for those who view in this interview, you could go type RKG Spanish Dancer on YouTube, and you're going to see the music video. The video was done by Gotti, Leroy Gotti Thomas, may his soul rest in peace, great videographer. Now, that song in particular, that song was a fusion of soca and Afrobeat, so I was doing it long time, you know? And the song, I released the song in the carnival. And people was asking, hey, this is a nice summer track, why you release it in the carnival? And just like what Shaggy said, hybrid music, I believe the music needs to be hybrid. It needs to be a fusion for people to gravitate to the music, you know? And me singing what I sing, which some people may say here is dancehall or soca, outside of here, they just look at Caribbean music, right? Perfect example, when DJs reach out to me from Africa, they sometimes they believe I'm Jamaican. I have to tell them, no, I'm from Trinidad. And they're like, where Trinidad is? I say Trinidad is very close to Jamaica. They believe actually Trinidad is also a place in Jamaica. Some DJs ask me, Trinidad is a place in Jamaica. When they hear the Caribbean, the first thing that comes to mind is Jamaica, actually.
And one of the things, so you spoke about two things that I want to follow up on. So in terms of that sound, and I even want to ask the question, when you say pure soca, what are you talking about? And we'll talk about seasoning just a bit, but when you say pure soca, what do you mean?
All right, when I talk about, all right, for instance, now it started with Calypso, right? And then hats off to Shorty I that invented the soca music. That was also an invention, that was also a hybrid music, so to speak, because he decided now to fuse the Indian music with the African drums and that kind of thing. Now, when I talk about soca, I'm talking about the soca from the days of Ronnie McIntosh, Super Blue. You know, even now, people still try to fuse the soca now, but there's like the power soca. All right, when you listen to power soca, a lot of times people think, but hey, power soca, people cannot understand it. But power soca is very close to dance music. Right? If you watch the BPM, the speed of it, right? You could take a perfect example. KMC sings power soca, but if you listen, he have also tracks that is very similar, is soca mixed with dance music. So when I say pure soca, I am talking about, you know, the soca that we accept here, right? The songs that we play, like I'll give you an example, Olatunji, right? Engine Room. When you hear that song, you hear soca, right? You hear the pan, you hear the steel pan, you hear the percussions, and you know that is soca. But a song like Spanish Dancer, or a song like even Kess with Shaggy, Mood, you know that is hybrid, that is a fusion of our authentic soca and what you may call, you know, dance soul or a fusion R&B. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And when you talk about Engine Room, I all think I hear there's a kind of throwback energy. I think Kaiso as well. But that's something that we'll discuss when we get into the next half of it. We're speaking with RKG. Stay with us. We'll return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Rossi Campus Gray, RKG the artist. And you've spoken about Spanish Dancer a few times, RKG. So I want to ask, what are some of the influences that go into your music, in the sense that I want my sound to be a little more like this, or I want it to be a little more like this, because I'm thinking 1, pure soca, 2, Spanish Dancer, 3, Zongusha. So what determines what goes into your music at
into
any
the music?
point in time?
I'll give you a perfect example. When I started working on Spanish Dancer, the producer himself had a beat, right? I came into the studio and I was like, you know, I love this beat, but I think we need to put some more elements to the beat. So there's a guitarist by the name of Jabalani, Jab's Music, great guitarist, young fella, very talented. And I was hearing some Spanish guitars in it. So I called him up, I'm like, yo, Jab, I have a song here and I'm feeling some Spanish guitars in it. Then when he decided to come and he put the guitars in it, I was like, yo, this song's good, but I want to get the live feel of a bass. So I linked Bassy from the All Stars band, and I was like, bass, I have a track here, right? It's like a fusion of Latin, reggaeton, Afrobeats and soca, but I'm feeling like I want to get a live bass on it. So I brought him in studio and he put in the live bass. So it's me just listening to the track and deciding to get that sound that I think could connect with people, right? And that's how I work with the music, and that's how Spanish Dancer was done.
And does working on radio kind of limit your creativity as an artist, in the sense that, nah, boy, this might get a little pressure to play, or yeah, I see this is what playing right about now. How does that? How do you deal with that?
That's an important question you asked me there, right? Now there's the ups and downs with it, right? Working on radio helps me be on par with everything that's happening, because I work at 12 to 3 shift where I hear music from hip hop to dance. So I'm currently hearing music. So it helps with the creativity. In terms of limiting you, sometimes you are doing music and it's a competitive environment. You work radio and plus you're an artist and you're singing, right? So it's very competitive because I'm not the only one that work on radio that sing, right? But I'll say I go hard with the music, I put in the work with the music, and who love the music would accept the music.
Okay, no, Spanish dancer, yes, one thing, and you gave us the example, on the perfect example, as you said, Zungusha, no.
Well, Zungusha, Kwabash kilam se anoko cheki wote wanoko dai. That in the language of Swahili means I see you and I want you, right? Now, how that happened, you asked me if you could speak Swahili, I would say no. I did a collaboration with an artist named Gene J from Kenya. That's going to be on my next album. And when I was doing that song in particular, I remember someone telling me, when you did Spanish Dancer, why didn't you do a Spanish version of it? And I didn't really think of it then. But when I came around to do Zungusha, right, I said, you know what? Let me get somebody to translate parts of the song in the language of Swahili. So I called him up, I wrote the song, I sent it to him, and I said, you know what? I want you to translate this. So he translated, he sang it, and he sent it back to me. And I was like 2 weeks on just learning those words. You want to make sure and get it correct, right? And then when the song was finished now, when I released the song, my fans in Africa, the different places, was like, hey, you know, we know what you're saying, but it sounds so cool because your accent is different.
Well, I'm glad that he actually gave you the audio of it as well, because it would be one thing to say, okay, well, I think this is how it's supposed to pronounce, and it's not even a matter of accent, you just say anything wrong.
That was the thing.